Program Director, Comrade Precious Banda. Good morning, comrades on Zoom, on different media platforms, media houses present today, SABC Newsroom Africa, ANCWL, Jacaranda, ladies and gentlemen, and all South Africans. Comrades, I'm going to read out the media statement of the ANC Women's League, which was held on the 20th until the 21st until the 22nd of February 2016. The statement of the ANC Women's League post National Executive Committee virtual meeting. We had convened our first NEC virtual meeting of the year from the 21st until the 22nd February 2021, where we have received a political, organizational, and a glimpse of financial report, and that was followed by the robust and honest debates on the state of the organization and the movement in general. We continue to engage in series of activities to want to understand how women are dealing with the second variant of COVID-19 and the impact it has on the quality of lives of the people of South Africa. The ANC-led government has done well in implementing numerous interventions across the sectors as part of crisis management, although the social and economic condition of working and poor people continues to degenerate daily, with poverty, inequality, unemployment, retrenchment, loss of income, and lack of economic activities becoming more prevalent. The unintentional consequences of COVID-19 have placed the spotlight on the economic disparities between men and women, especially because a large majority of households in lower income tax brackets are led by women breadwinners. We continue to emphasize how COVID virus has a huge impact on our safety as women and children, and this is demonstrated in the recent quarterly statistics issued by the Minister of Police that indicates an increase in reported violence against women and children, murder, sexual offences, increase in quarter 3, quarterly crime statistics reveal. And during this time also, comrade, we had reflected on women and the economy. And as our government implements the economic recovery plan, we are saying it must not leave behind the vulnerable and disadvantaged communities whose conditions have been worsened by COVID-19. And that there's a need to empower women in different sectors of the economy, especially in self-sustainable areas of work, because women are still the face of poverty. And that the government and our leaders must give women from different sectors audience when they approach them, and that is why we continue to work with women from Women of South Africa, which is WOSA, to champion the economic interests of South African women. We believe that women form an integral part of the economic and labor force. Private and public institutions, therefore, have a direct responsibility to ensure that women are adequately skilled and have access to resources in order to achieve equitable growth. We have also reflected on the issue of food scarcity, and as a Women's League, we believe that the primary beneficiaries of land must be women, as they have been largely marginalized in the sectors of agriculture, mining, construction, and property development. And on the state of the organization, we have noted as the ANC Women's League that the ANC has declared 2021 the year of President Charlotte Maxeke to commemorate the 150th anniversary of the birth of Charlotte Maxeke under the theme Unity, Renewal, and Reconstruction in the year of Charlotte Maxeke. Women's League, as part of program of action, will have all year round programs to honor and accelerate the life and times of our founding president. The President Charlotte Maxeke was a pioneer, a woman who broke the new ground. In her honor, Our program of action will focus more on poor women and intensify our struggle for the emancipation of women. The Women's League had assessed the state of the organization and arrived at the conclusion that our structures have been doing their best under difficult circumstances of COVID-19 and during this time of regulations. We resolved to encourage our members to continue with the membership recruitment with a cut-off date for the 31st March 2021. The regional conferences are expected to sit before the end of May and provincial conferences before the end of July. If COVID regulations allow, the NEC also resolved to have its national conference at the end of August 2021. And we had reflected also on the pension of the president of the ANC Women's League. The NEC resolved to make it categorically clear that we support our president, Batabile Dlamini, in her demand for her pension, which is due. The president took the ANC Women's League NEC into confidence that she was never provided reasons why her pension has been withheld for 3 years now. We believe that as the ANC Women's League, without any necessary debate on the merits or demerits of her case, that no woman must go through what she is subjected to, especially as a single mother. That is why we find no other logic for this than to conclude that it is nothing but cheap politics by those who want to settle political scores using the welfare of the president, Batabile Dlamini, and her family. We have engaged also on the Back to School campaign, and the ANC Women's League deliberated on the reopening of schools in basic education. The basis of every decision of our government takes should be premised on the fact that education is a fundamental right that must be afforded to every child, especially by the poor and disadvantaged. Our government must ensure that learning takes place in a safe conditions and environment, that the Department of Basic Education has a responsibility to ensure that all schools are made safe and meet requirements at the commencement of classes. And we wish to congratulate all learners who sat for 2020 matric exams under very difficult conditions of COVID-19 pandemic. We further congratulate those who made it for making us proud, and I encourage those who did not make it not to give up and seek avenues to rewrite our exams. We also congratulate the Minister of Basic Education for steering the sector so well under difficult circumstances. We know from the matric results released that dynamics of basic education have not changed despite a general decrease attributed to COVID-19. The question of infrastructure development and capable human resource in rural schools affect the process from such schools. In a country where a number of schools still don't have running water and utilize makeshift toilets, poor hygienic environment, lack of classroom and teachers, and so on and so forth. And therefore, we are saying, as the ANC Women's League, we believe that the Right to Learn campaign and the issue of NSFAS must be enhanced. This can be achieved by prioritizing education because South Africa has more young people in their education and must be taken seriously. The ANC Women's League agreed that the institutions of higher learning have also been severely affected by COVID-19 and are starting to resume classes for 2021 academic year. The insistence of the Department of Higher Education to allow institutions to implement online systems while majority of students, especially those from the historically disadvantaged institutions, have not received devices, and this is unexplainable and very sad. We are saying that as the ANC Women's League, will continue to support the ANC Women's League Young Women's Desk program by the Leader Thoma Right to Learn campaign as institutions of higher learning reopen. The campaign will be a build-up on the work done by our Career Expo, which was run in all 9 provinces last year in assisting learners to apply to institutions of higher learning of their choice. Thousands of learners were assisted by our dedicated volunteers, and we want to thank them who ensured that learners have got all the necessary resources to apply, from taking them through data so that they can be online, and scanning of relevant documents for applications to be successful. And we are also observing how announcement of the shortage of funding and as first beneficiary and the missing middle will gravely affect a lot of those students. However, as the ANC Women's League, we had agreed to have a meeting with the department, with relevant departments in taking up this matter forward, because we are saying that all interventions in higher education must not leave out the missing middle who don't qualify for NSFAS and yet cannot afford to pay for their education. And we have observed that many young women are subjected to different forms of abuse and often pursuing education far from home as their only escape mechanism. And therefore, comrades, on issues of gender-based violence and femicide, violence against women and children, because it is our language, and that will be making a submission on the expropriation bill and gender-based violence and femicide bill, because we believe we have to contribute in shaping the policy direction our country takes. This is consistent with our approach in all other bills we have made submissions for in the past. And we'll continue with our campaigns confronting the scourge of violence against women and children, and we will aid the necessary support to victims and survivors using our victim-centered approach. The ANC Women's League will be watching closely the process of appointing the GBVF Council and insist that it must be inclusive and represent the aspirations of majority of working class women who continue to live in fear every day. We have also supported the COVID-19 vaccine rollout, and we will be implementing our campaign that will continue to remind South Africans to adhere to COVID-19 regulations, and then we'll remind women in society to stay safe and observe COVID-19 protocols. We are encouraging women to take the vaccine as presented in the rollout plan. We believe that we have gained sufficient experience as a country on dealing with COVID-19, and we call on governments not to have excuse for loss of life due to COVID-19. There should be a patient tracking and proper accountability for each and every patient. The government has amassed enough experience to act promptly to respond to the spread of COVID-19. And in terms of preparations for CSW, Commission on Status of Women, 65 and International Women's Day, we'll be calling our stakeholders meeting to prepare through our Cognitive Umanyano weekly program. We'll also announce our program to commemorate the International Women's Day. I know for the fact that Power will be having a program, and it's been championed by the Vice President, especially here in South Africa, who is President of the ANC Women's League. And on that particular day, we'll be launching a program of Masukwazila. But we also say that we must use our position as the Vice President of Power to mobilize and work with South Africa and African continent countries towards a common program of action. I would like to congratulate Dr. Ngosi on her appointment as the Director General of the World Trade Government Elections. The ANC Women's League will be represented by Comrade Dimpahani. We have also agreed that provinces must do the same to appoint the champions for for local government and people who will be representing the ANC Women's League. In preparing also women in, we are very much consistent on our call for equal representation in local government and spheres. We encourage members of the ANC Women's League to complete the OR Tambo School of Leadership in a course, and we are ready to mobilize women for a resounding victory of the ANC in the upcoming local government elections, and we are ready to hit the ground running. The unity of the ANC and the movement. The ANC Women's League had an honest discussion of the state of the mass democratic movement, and we had expressed our disappointment on the high level of factionalism in the ANC. This is because we agreed that a weak and divided ANC weakens and divides all the leagues and alliance partners. It is against this background that we believe ANC Women's League must lead the process of uniting a broader movement, which is the ANC. And we agreed that no matter how difficult, women must remain on the side of the organization. This means we will constructively criticize our leaders if need be and defend the culture and the traditions of the movement. We reiterate our support to the entire leadership collective of the African National Congress as elected by the 54th National Conference, and we rally behind them until the end of their term of office. We'll also consult women on how must we approach the upcoming conference of the ANC so that we build more consensus on any positions we take as the ANC Women's League. We have observed how certain issues in the public discourse are weakening our movement, further to reducing our fighting capacity. This includes the state capture, the inconsistency of the judiciary, and how any form of criticism to the judiciary is seen as a disregard for the law. We welcome the resolution of the ANC NEC to develop guidelines on step-aside resolution, and we hope that there will be further consultation with the structures of the ANC and its leagues. And as part of consolidating the unity of the movement, the ANC Women's League NEC took a decision to visit the former president, President Zuma, on a date to be announced at his Nkandla homestead. We believe the ANC must close all existing gaps between itself and its former leaders. We'll visit President Zuma and continue to visit many other former leaders because they are part of the legacy of our gallant movement. Gratitude to frontline workers. Would like to commend the dedication and commitment demonstrated by all frontline workers, especially those who are in the healthcare system. Every day spent at their workplace puts them at the risk of contracting COVID-19 virus. And yet, they remain fearless and courageous in their pursuit of ensuring that society as a whole receives quality treatment. Majority of these frontline workers are women who continue to display ultimate level of compassion and self-sacrifice in the face of adversity. And also, as the ANC Women's League, we encourage all members of society to pledge solidarity to frontline workers by adhering to COVID-19 regulations and behaving in a manner that will ensure that the spread of the virus is kept. It is only through the sacrifice, self-discipline, and unity that we'll be able to overcome the COVID-19 pandemic. We also convey our condolences to the families of all those who lost their loved ones through COVID-19. We are saying that let's continue to adhere to the COVID-19 regulations and keep our communities and families against this virus. We also want to say in closing that the ANC Women's League will support and still supporting Caster Semenya on her case, her appeal case we are there for her, and we are saying all women must unite and support all other women. Thank you very much, members of the media and the president of the ANC Women's League and all South Africans. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the Secretary General of the ANC Women's League, Comrade Miyoko Matuba, who would like to take this opportunity to give the media an opportunity to ask questions. Please introduce yourself, tell us your names and from which media house you are from, and also to recognize members of the media that are with us through the virtual platform on Zoom, and to say they can also ask their questions through the chat, and Comrade Piladi from our media team is going to take those questions and will be able to ask the questions to the leadership of the ANC Women's League. We are going to start with you as number one. Let us check if there are any further hands. Okay, from here with us is only yourself, but then we have other questions that are going to follow. Maybe let me start with them because they're coming in virtually. This one is from Karen Duplessis from News 24. Could we have some clarity about the planned visit to the former President Zuma? Has the ANC Women's League been in touch with his offices yet? And has there been any agreement in principle with his office that the visit will take place? So Karim is asking if the ANC Women's League has contacted the office of President Zuma to communicate the intended visit that was resolved by the NEC of the ANC Women's League. So far, that's what we have. We're going to have you and then go back to the to Zoom. Thank you.
Thanks, Precious. First of all, compliments, Matt. I haven't seen you this year. I just want to know, adding on to Karen's question about the visit to the former President Jacob Zuma, can you just divulge more details? What is likely to be discussed with the former president? I see here in the statement that the ANC Women's League has said that you've observed how certain issues in the public discourse are weakening your movement, and even the State Capture Commission. So does this mean, I mean, the NEC had said that they support the work of the State Capture Commission. Are you of the same view as the ANC Women's League? Do you support the work of the State Capture Commission of Inquiry? And furthermore, do you think that the commission is biased towards the former president, as he has indicated previously? And then furthermore, I see here in your statement that the ANC Women's League will lead a march to the Victoria House to demand the unity of your leaders. When is this planned march going to happen? And I mean, as the ANC Women's League, have you raised such conversations before to the NEC about such issues? Because I mean, in times past, we've heard the president of the ANC saying that the ANC is more united than before. But then we have the ANC Women's League saying that actually the ANC is quite factionalized right now. So yeah, I think those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Natasha. And I think while we are still waiting for more questions from Zoom, with those alone, we're going to call upon the president of the ANC Women's League to come and respond to the questions from Karine and yourself, while we take more questions from the Zoom platform. President Batabile Tamini.
Thank you very much, Precious, SG, Miyoko Matuba, Comrade TV, and the media houses that are here, and those that are following us through social media.
I think, okay, the NEC decided that as part of uniting the ANC, we must visit former President Jacob Zuma. And the issue of having meetings with the present officials. We've had more than 6 meetings with the officials. And I'm not going to divulge our discussions with them. But the issue of the unity of the movement has always been on top of the agenda. And in our last meeting with the officials, in his response, President Ramaphosa said, amongst the work of the Women's League, we must prioritize unity in the organization. And then the issue of state capture. We've been saying we do not want to be seen as people that are mobilizing against the judiciary. Generally, the judiciary has to be supported because it is the last defense of human rights, justice, and dignity. But we must still remember, we are a growing democracy. And that is why in all the conferences of the ANC, we've discussed the issues and we've tried to deepen our understanding on the issues of social transformation, economic transformation, the judiciary, the electoral system, issues of gender equality, because we are learning. So behaving as if everything is perfect is going to make us commit unnecessary mistakes. We are a growing democracy, and let's allow the battle of ideas and deepen our democracy and change the quality of lives of the ordinary people. Thank you very much for your question.
Thank you, President, for those responses. We have further questions that we're taking from our virtual platforms. We have a question from Rebecca. She's saying, good day, SG. Did the NEC discuss the former president's defiance of the Zondo Commission? And what is your stance on the matter? Can the Women's League react to Mr. Bongo's acquittal this morning, given that you say the judiciary can be used for political and factional battles? Also, has the NEC discussed the step aside guidelines? Rebecca from the Mail and Guardian. So it's the defiance of the former president, it's the acquittal of Comrade Bongo, and then it's the step aside. It's 3 questions. And then the next one is from Karine, saying, thank you for Thanks so much for posing my question. I have another question too. Please, to the ANC Women's League leader, President Matabile Dlamini, about an issue in the papers recently. Has she managed to find any more clarity on why her pension was withheld? So that's the fourth question. Then we're going to take 3 more questions, and these are from TD, from Eyewitness News. TD Madia from Eyewitness News. The issue around your president's pension fund, you say it's cheap politics. Who is behind this? SASA directly, or do you place blame with someone else? Number 2, these are from TD Free. You speak of the NC's factions and the role you want to play in uniting it, as well as bringing the gap with former presidents. At what cost? Because to people outside of the NC, you might be accused of choosing the party above the country's constitution. Then her last question, are you also reaching out to former President Thabo Mbeki in your bid to bridge the gap? So those are the 3 more questions from CD. So it's 7 questions in total. So we are going to call upon, Natasha, I see you. We're going to call upon the SG to come, and then the president is going to be the last one. We are going to take the last very round of questions. After they respond to these, we'll check if there are few more questions again, and there'll be no more taking of questions after that. So I'll request you, Natasha, to pause your question so that we request the SG of the NC Women's League to come and respond. Then the president, then we'll come back for the last time. Natasha?
I just, please, can I get the name of or Mamba to just answer the question about the March with the ANC?
Okay. Okay, thank you. SG, and then the SG is going to be followed by the president.
Thank you very much, Comrade Precious. I will try to answer some questions and give clarity as much as I can from the NEC of the ANC. The ANC Women's League had agreed to meet with the former president, Comrade JZ, and I think that the president of the ANC Women's League had deliberated on the matter. We are going to have that meeting. You will be invited as media houses, because after that meeting, we can be able to divulge information and outline the decisions that were reached or that are going to be reached on that particular time. On the issue of step-aside comrades, we have reflected as the leadership of the ANC Women's League and agreed that we still need more time of the presentation from the Treasurer General of the ANC, and we will have a special meeting to deal with those issues. We agree on what was presented, and we are saying that it's good that there is a direction in implementing the 54th resolution of the ANC conference, and we will engage and we will have further discussions, because we believe that we are also members of the ANC before we can be members of the ANC Women's League in terms of the constitution. We are the law-abiding citizens as members of the ANC Women's League, and we always believed that we allow the processes, the way or the manner in which they unfold, especially the principle that says the one is not guilty, it's not guilty, the person is innocent until proven guilty by a different court of law. And we are still saying that we need to sharpen our understanding in terms of the ANC processes and also in terms of the laws of the country. We are law-abiding citizens. We respect the Constitution of South Africa, and we also respect the Constitution of our own movement, because we believe that the Constitution is the supreme law. And also the issue of the pension fund, the issue of president, we were taken, especially when you look at our statement, we were taking confidence by the president of the Women's League on what is happening, and we had agreed to further engage and check what could be the challenges with regards to the pension. And when you look at the statement, the ANC Women's League statement, we are saying before we can even get into the demerits and merits of the case, no woman deserves to be treated like that, especially when it comes to the things that are due for her that she had worked for. If there are other issues, we believe that there is leadership, there will be resolved, but it cannot be correct that a person wait for more than 3 years for her own pension. Even if in this instance, the person was not the president of the ANC, we will still say that because we believe that women are going through difficult times in South Africa, and we'll try to check and make a follow-up, but we know for the fact that there's a movement in terms of the engagement now, and that process, we believe that at the end of the day, they will be able to resolve. In the march to the House in terms of unity, the president of the Women's League, she is very much correct to say we have been raising issues internally with the leadership of the ANC. The issues that we are raising, even in our NEC meeting, we have raised them. We had mandate on different occasions as officials of the Women's League, and also as NWC of the ANC Women's League, to the leadership of the ANC. And we will not tire to raise our issues within the movement if it means that we must come, which is something that we are going to do. Looking at COVID regulations will not act irresponsible. Looking at COVID regulations will still raise the flag to say the ANC must unite, and we decided to unite as women and take the position of the ANC before the position of the different groupings that are in the organization. And we are saying as the ANC, our unity as women, especially in the ANC, with our percentage of the 65% of membership in the ANC, can make a difference and impact in the near future. For others, I will leave to the president of the ANC Women's League to agree upon, to respond to them, and the issue of visiting other presidents. We have started with the first engagement, and we have been visiting women, although it has not been shared with you. We have been visiting women who are presidents. We have been celebrating their lives. We have been doing everything that is possible to recognize women in our movement. And if it means that we must meet with every leader of the organization to plead for our own unity and begin to say to ourselves, we are going to unite to lead the African National Congress. We will do that. It will not be a pain for us. It will be a bonus that our organization, which is more than 109 years, survives. Thank you very much, President, and thank you, Precious.
President, we're going to call upon you, I think, to respond towards the end, President, of our briefing, and to say we'll be taking interviews and questions after that. For the remaining questions, and just to add up also on the one of Comrade Bongo, they actually won the Women's League. It's preparing to reflect what this means on the step-aside principle that is being discussed in the ANC. So after the President responds, we are no longer taking questions for this briefing. We're going to close the briefing, and then we can take interviews for the different media houses that are here individually with our leaders after that. Thank you, President.
Thank you very much, Precious. I think our responsibility has always, or the agenda of the ANC has always put South Africa on top of its agenda. And that is why the ANC has always been called a people's movement. And the way we've characterized ourselves must be linked to what we've always stood for. And it is precisely because of that reason that we are going to have a march to Lutuli House and plead with our leadership to choose the people of South Africa. To try and ensure that there is unity. It's very important for the ANC to strive for unity, because the foundation of the ANC still remains unity. And we must try and put our focus on the struggle for the emancipation of the people of South Africa. And therefore, as women, we are the majority in the country. If we do not stand up and fight for unity, the country will die in our hands, and we don't want to have such a challenge. On the issue of Comrade Bongo, we want to congratulate the court for playing its role and being above party political issues. And we will congratulate the judiciary where we see a good. And we will try and raise endlessly the challenges where we see that there are challenges, but not with the aim of destroying the judiciary. We hope that everyone is going to follow on the footsteps of those that are doing their best, those that are doing good, because it's not everyone that has such challenges. There are those that have tried to advance their understanding of the role of the judiciary.
It is, you have responded to the one comment of visiting President Mbeki. Yes, think you have responded to everything. You have responded to everything.
Yeah, I think the SGA responded very well on the issue of visiting other leaders. Yes, we are going to continue, but we have already started visiting leaders. And that is why the approach of uniting the country. Because when we had the birthday of Washoe, her first issue was stop staying in your corner. That is not understood by women. Talk to all women, not ANC women only. Talk to other organizations, talk to rural women, talk to professionals, intellectuals, women that are in the working class and are the majority, and talk about all the issues that affect women. Don't choose others and give preference to others and not to others. So we've been getting guidance from our leaders, and they have assured us that they support us. With the defiance of the Zondo Commission, I think this question is trying to make us disclose our conversation with the former president. We've said we will talk to the media after the visit, not now, because we want people to see the difference. We don't want to involve ourselves in the discussions that are there. Thank you very much.
Now, before you tell us where you're going to.
Sorry.
When
Yes.
the SG will issue a statement. Yes.
Thank you so much, President. I think we have responded to all the questions that were posed to us. Thank you very much to the various media houses for coming and attending this press briefing to the post-NEC of the ANC Women's League. Thank you for those that are going to be traveling from Tuli House that made it to here to come and listen to what the National Executive Committee of the ANC Women's League is saying. We have already said those that need interviews can contact our leaders here before they leave so that they can attend to each media house individually. But for now, we have come to the end of this briefing, and thank you very much.